towering figure, wings wider than a car, glowing red eyes piercing through the darkness. For more than a year, people in a small town in America claimed they were seeing something impossible. And then disaster struck, and suddenly, people started asking terrifying questions. Was Mothman trying to warn them? I'm Lisa, and this is Say It Anyway. The year was 1966. The place? Point Pleasant, West Virginia. A quiet river town with a population of only a few hundred people. Nothing about Point Pleasant suggested it was about to become one of the most famous paranormal locations in the world. But on a cold November night, everything changed. On November 15th, 1966, two young couples were driving near the abandoned TNT plant outside Point Pleasant. The site was once used during World War II, and now it sat mostly empty, dark, silent, and forgotten. As they drove through the area, they noticed something standing near one of the old buildings. At first they thought it was a man, and then it moved. The witnesses later described a large grey creature, around 7 feet tall, with enormous wings folded against its body, and glowing red eyes. Terrified, the group drove away, but according to their account, the creature followed. They claimed it lifted into the air and chased their car. Some reports said it kept pace at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour. The witnesses were shaken, and when they reported what they'd seen, many people assumed it was dismissed as imagination. Instead, more sightings followed. Over the following months, reports poured in. People described seeing a huge winged creature, glowing red eyes, strange movements, and silent flight. Some claimed it appeared near roads, others seeing it in fields. Some described feeling of dread before the sighting. The story spread, and soon the creature had a name: Mothman. One sighting can be dismissed, two can be a coincidence, but dozens, that's where things become strange. Police officers, workers, local residents, people who had no obvious connections to each other. Many claim they'd seen the same thing. Not exactly, not perfectly, but close enough to create a mystery. There is the explanation most skeptics support. The area contains large birds, particularly sandhill cranes. These birds have a wingspan of over 6 feet. In low light conditions, their eyes can glow when reflected on headlights. Under stress and fear, it is possible witnesses misidentify what they are seeing, and stories spread. Expectation may have influenced later reports. Another explanation is psychological. Once local newspapers began reporting sightings, people became alert. Every unusual shape, every shadow, every strange bird could possibly have been Mothman. History has shown that communities can sometimes reinforce extraordinary beliefs, especially during periods of uncertainty and fear. And this is where the mystery begins. Supporters argue that witnesses constantly describe details that don't fit known animals: the size, the shape, the behaviour, the speed. And they ask, if it was just a bird, why do so many people remain convinced for the rest of their lives that it wasn't? Then came the event that changed everything. On December 15th, 1967, just over a year after the first sighting, the Silver Bridge connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio collapsed during rush hour traffic. 46 people lost their lives. It was one of the worst bridge disasters in American history. The official cause was later determined to be a structural failure. A small defect in a suspension component triggered a catastrophic chain reaction. But for many local residents, something else stood out. The Mothman sighting stopped almost immediately. This is where the theory made the legend immortal. Some believe Mothman wasn't a monster. Some believe it wasn't an animal. They believe it was a warning, an omen, a site of disaster. According to this theory, the sightings were connected to the bridge collapse, not a cause, but as a warning that something terrible was about to happen. And when the disaster occurred, the creature was no longer seen. Because unlike many legends, Mothman is attracted to real tragedy. The Silver Bridge collapse happened, people died, and the fear was real. The grief was real. And when people look back at the sightings, they can't help wondering, what if this was a connection? Even if there wasn't, the timing was enough to keep the story alive. The strongest explanation remains a combination of misidentified animals, fear, rumour, and media attention. There is no confirmed evidence that a supernatural creature ever existed. No physical proof, nor captured specimens, nor verified photographs. But that's not the end of the story, because mysteries aren't always about evidence. Sometimes they're about the people who experience them, and many witnesses have never changed their stories. What did people really see? A bird? A misunderstanding? A legend born from fear, or something that still doesn't have a name? More than 50 years later, nobody can answer the question with certainty. A small town, a winged creature, glowing red eyes in the darkness, a tragedy that will forever become part of a story. Whether Mothman was a monster, a mistake, or a warning, the legend continues to fly through American folklore, and maybe the story ends there, but the questions never do. We'll let you decide. This is Say It Anyway.